Hello, today I'm going to discuss weight loss, weight gain, and obesity. We will draw our attention to how the body fools us, why diets often do not work, and then we'll look at how hypnosis and hypnotherapy can help you to reach your ideal body shape. So how does a person get to become obese or overweight? For our purposes, it's enough to say that our bodies give us skewed information about what we should eat. It doesn't always know what's best for itself, and our bodies are often fooled by the chemicals and sugars we consume in our food. And because our body is very good at telling us when it's hungry and what it wants, restriction and short-term diets do not work. These diets end up becoming a battle of wills, and for most people, the unconscious mind, the part that's suggesting to eat that cake or to have a little more of that tasty morsel, will win out. So for 90 to 95% of people who go on such a diet, they either do not complete it or they put the weight back on shortly after. So what we are dealing with is not just the food we eat, but how our body desires food. And that's where hypnosis comes into play. We can use it to fix or better direct those faulty mechanisms. These unhelpful eating habits are often laid down in childhood, so thus there is a psychological component. Food is often used as a source of comfort when things go badly, or rewarding oneself when things go well. If this sounds familiar, then maybe you could ask yourself, when do your cravings occur most often? Do you crave sweets at work or when thinking about certain people? Our environment can play host to all kinds of triggers to foods, high in simple sugars and carbohydrates that we may not be aware of until we bring our attention to it. Maybe you believe that you have to eat all your food at meal times, including seconds, because of what mealtime means to you. So let's talk about the psychological effects of overeating and obesity. When we are uncomfortable with how we look, we generate an unhelpful inner dialogue. We compare ourselves to others, and we struggle with our body image. Young, healthy women often report being unsatisfied with their own bodies. As this dent in our self-esteem is sometimes eased in the short term by eating the very food we know is bad for us, the problem becomes a vicious circle. And what about the effects of dieting? Sometimes people believe that going on a diet will have a utopian effect, that losing a certain amount of weight will solve all their problems at once. But sometimes we do have other needs that are not being met. A need for security, rewarding relationships with others, a sense of achievement about what one does. And not having these needs being met can ultimately lead us to breaking the diet and going back to the foods which comfort us. So how can we stop this? How can we intervene? Firstly, think about not the weight that you want, but the shape that you want. Using visualization, a technique often used in hypnosis, you can picture your ideal shape. And that shape may not correspond to the weight that you believed was your ideal. The healthy shape, for example, of a 30-something woman shortly after giving birth will not be the same as the ideal shape of a 14-year-old girl. Fixating on weight can lead us to fixate on scales. Scales only tell us part of the truth, and our weight fluctuates throughout the day, and so the scales can become in themselves a source of anxiety. And how do some people respond to anxiety? You guessed it, through food. So also reconsider how you view diets and dieting. To reach the shape that you want and stay that way, it is better to have eating habits that are healthy and enjoyable. This is only mentioned here briefly. In my next video, we will look at some nutritional tips. Thirdly, think about why you want to lose weight. Talking with one client of mine, we were able to find a reason that for her was emotionally compelling. She wanted to be able to walk the hills of Italy, and reaching the ideal body shape for her would help her do that. We helped her visualize herself in those hills of Italy, in the ideal shape, picturing the sights and smelling the smells and aromas of that place. So when you imagine yourself in the future, you can do this too with your ideal shape. You can wonder what it is about that time in the future that is so special. Perhaps you are at your wedding and you look really good. Or perhaps you're finally doing that sport that you've always wanted to do. Maybe you just like the feeling of getting dressed for work, looking at your figure in the mirror and feeling proud of your body. Or maybe it's your better half complimenting you on how you look. And here are some general tips. Remember to drink regularly. water especially. Drinking can help to counter our sense of hunger. Also, chew and chew and chew your food. It takes the brain about 15 minutes to tell us that we are full from chewing, so the slower you chew, the less food you believe you need at meals. In fact, research has shown that if you start to eat a meal at your normal pace and then start to chew slowly, you will feel fuller and quicker while taking in less food than you would otherwise. And if there are seconds, then save them for another time in some Tupperware. Eat when you are sitting down and enjoy eating. Focus on it without distractions, such as while watching the television or reading a magazine or doing office work on the computer. Think about how slim people view food. Their associations with food will probably be different from yours, and if you can find a way to adopt those associations through hypnosis, then maybe you're on the right track. And finally, consider the 80-20 rule. If 80% of the time you are eating healthier or better prepared foods, again something we'll look at in the next video, then for 20% of the time it is okay to give yourself a treat. In fact, you may find that the treat will be even more special because for the rest of the time you're giving your body vital energy through the food that you eat to do the things that you want to do and enjoy the things you want to enjoy. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you have any questions, please contact me here on this YouTube channel or email me at therapeutichehypnosis@hotmail.com. That's therapeutichehypnosis, all one word, @hotmail.com. Thank you for listening, and the best of luck to you.